voir du monde à genoux dans la rue à faire des prières, je pense qu'il faut se poser la question. Je pense pas que c'est quelque chose qu'on devrait voir.
Mais est-ce que vous pouvez légiférer là-dessus?
C'est ce qu'on regarde. C'est ce qu'on regarde actuellement.
Well, it's nice for him to wake up some 14 months after it began, but I put it to you that we don't need more laws, especially laws focusing on the religious aspect. It's the territorial aspect. It's the breaking of existing laws. You don't need to ban religion in the public place, a ban that will surely be used against Jews and Christians too. You need just to enforce the regular laws against nuisance, mischief, trespass, vandalism, uttering threats. Had Quebec done that from the beginning, it wouldn't be in the riotous situation it's in now. Well, joining us now to talk about what's happening to Canada's second most populous city is our friend Barbara Kay, who lives in Montreal and has been watching this from a front row seat. Barbara, great to see you again.
Good to be here, Ezra.
You know, Montreal was such a Jewish city. Obviously, it was a Catholic city and a French city and an Anglo city. But for, I don't know, 50 years, maybe 100 years, it was a city also of Leonard Cohen, of Mordecai Richler, of, you know, of delis and Jewish street life and Ashkenazi. And there was so many things about it that were safe and peaceful and happy. But that Montreal's gone forever, isn't it?
It seems that it is, I mean, I hope it's not gone forever, but it certainly doesn't look like it's going to come back anytime soon. And I agree, it was always a city in which Jewish culture flourished, both Ashkenazi and Sephardic since the 1960s. You know, probably half the population now is of Sephardic origin. They bring their own wonderful traditions from the Middle East and their own, of course, they're French speaking and very vibrant, of course, very strong institutional life, you know, the Jewish General Hospital and the Jewish agencies that serve the entire city, Jewish theater, Yiddish theater. It's not gone, but it certainly could be gone if things don't turn around, that's for sure.
I'm glad you mentioned Sephardi Jews. Just for our viewers who don't know, Ashkenazi Jews are typically Western European Jews, Central European Jews, typically from Germany or Poland or Ukraine, you could say, whereas Sephardi Jews are often from Arab lands, places like Morocco, Iraq even, where they were expelled often in the 50s and 60s as a kind of ethnic cleansing. Some of them went to Israel, but some of them, being French speakers, would have gone to Quebec as well. I don't know, demographics is destiny. Our friend Mark Stein has been telling us that for 20 years, I suppose. And, you know, Canada's demographics were deliberately altered through a campaign of mass migration. I think Trudeau accelerated that, and he had a Islamic immigration strategy for political reasons as much as anything else. There's no particular economic reason for it. But if Stephen Harper was known as a friend of the Jews, and if Trudeau couldn't compete with that, well, if he would bring in 1 million Muslim migrants on his watch, that would more than offset the Jewish vote. I really do think it was political. What do you think?
I think it was political, and I think there's something very fascinating and exotic to a certain kind of mindset. They have no use for their own culture. They're bored with their own culture. They think their own culture is old-fashioned, and it's time to turn the page on. Christianity is old news to them, and they pride themselves on being post-religion. But there's something about Islam that they find very exotic and very attractive. And so, yes, I think it was political. He did want to change the character of the culture. He did want to make it multicultural, and that was the easiest way to do it, and a way that attracted him too. I see that he is attracted to Islam, and he does not see Islamism as a force that is changing this country in a rather alarming way.
I think his brother had an impact on us too. His brother Alexandre, who has never met a tyrant he doesn't like. I guess that runs in the family. Pierre Trudeau was the same way. Alexandre Trudeau produced a movie called The New Great Game that was entirely sympathetic to Iran and the Ayatollahs. Now, that may be his natural point of view, I'm sure it is, but the film was actually produced by state media in Iran. So it's not just that he was a pro-Iran shill, which I think should question his judgment and his ethics. He literally worked for the government of Iran, propagating their message, the definition of propaganda. Despite that, Justin Trudeau made Alexandra his policy advisor in his leadership run.
No, I agree with you. Alexandra is definitely holds views that I find distasteful, to say the least. And I think I'm reminded in Trudeau's sort of fascination with Islam and Iran, I'm reminded of former President Obama, who was infatuated with the idea that Iran should be the strong man of the Middle East, and that he had this idea that if Iran was the leader or had the power to kind of be the force that kept a lid on everything in the Middle East, that would be a good thing. He was completely wrong in his estimation, and a great deal of the unrest and disturbance and violence in the Middle East that we have seen in the last few years is a result of his failed and misguided policy. And I think Trudeau, in his own way, reminds me very much of Obama in terms of letting his fascination with this culture that is completely different from our own, and for that reason, very appealing. He has allowed our country well, he as you can see and as you've said, he has not put a lid on the violence that has erupted since October 7th. He's done very little. And by the way, that riot, the anti-NATO riot, it wasn't anti-NATO. They happened to be there. That riot, I believe, erupted because he made a public statement saying that he fully supported the International Criminal Court, and yes, he would arrest Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant if they were to come to Canada, because he felt bound to support that court. And they took from that the message that it was, yes, open season on Jews, because to them, Jews and Israel are all the same. So I believe that was actually connected. And it's tragic that, look, fish rot from the head. Trudeau has shown zero leadership on the growing anti-Semitism, and he has issued platitudes. It's very easy for a leader to say the right things and do the right things, and we have seen Donald Trump make pronouncements. You will see anti-Semitism subside in the United States after he's inaugurated, and you will see campuses take control of their campuses because he has threatened to withhold funding if they don't. And you will see that people will be deported, or that people will be jailed, or that there will be a very strong leadership on that file, and you will see a direct result, and things will get better, I believe, once he is in power. If you don't take a strong stand, the leadership does not, the message is sent. I don't care that this is happening, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not prepared to do anything about it. He is giving permission for these riots to continue and for anti-Semitism to be rife in our streets. But can I just say, you said something I would like to respond to. You said religion isn't the issue, and Muslims praying in the streets, there's nothing wrong with that in the public forum. I actually disagree with you. I think that when aggressive Muslim activists take to the streets to pray, it's not about expressing piety or faith or their love for Allah. It's about saying, we are dominating your public spaces and we will triumph in this country. Our religion is going to triumph in this country. So I do not see Christians praying in the streets. I don't see Jews praying in the streets. I don't see Hindus praying in the streets. Nobody prays in the streets. The public forum is for everybody to enjoy and everybody to meet and greet each other. It's not for one group to start chanting prayers and everybody else has to sort of, walk around or not speak up or not. That's no longer a public forum. They've turned the public space into a prayer space, and their prayers are often tinged with political ideology. Islam is both a religion and an ideology. And in these spaces, when they do these organized performance theater of praying in the street, there's a very strong message there, and it's a political message, not a message of faith, in my opinion.